Members of the Board of Education, Mr. Pendergrass, honored guests, parents, faculty, and the Morristown High School class of 2016. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you this evening. Tonight we gather to celebrate the accomplishments of these 399 men and women and proudly send them forth to the next chapter of their lives. However, before I begin my welcome address, I want to take a moment to recognize Mr. Michael Bruchac. Mike has been a member of our staff for 34 years and has dedicated himself to serving the students, teachers, and parents of the Morristown High School community. It is with heavy hearts that we bid farewell to Mike, but we are happy to wish him years of happiness ahead in what we know will be an enjoyable retirement. Mike's colleagues purchased a plaque to honor his years of commitment and service that will be hung in the senior stairs. Please allow me to read the inscription. In honor of Michael R. Bruchac, Vice Principal of Morristown High School, 1982 to 2016, with deep appreciation for your 34 years of dedication, service, and loyalty to the students, staff, and parents of Morristown High School. And there's a quote: "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well." Ralph Waldo Emerson. On behalf of the entire Morristown High School community, I'd like to now recognize Mr. Bruchac. Tonight I want to share with the graduates a few personal stories that contain lessons that I hope will provide them with some guidance as they move forward beyond their high school years. A little over a year ago, I was experiencing some struggles at work. Struggles that were making it very difficult for me to live the dream of being the principal of Morristown High School. I attempted in vain to surmount these challenges, but unfortunately I continued to experience a high level of frustration. Luckily for me, fate placed a very wise and experienced mentor in my life who asked me if I knew the story of the signal and the noise, which I had not. He then asked me, "Mark, what is your goal at work?" To which I responded, to do great things for kids. He told me that that was my signal, to listen for opportunities to do great things for kids, and that anything that distracted me from this was the noise. This advice provided me with the insight I needed to address my immediate struggles, and my situation at work improved. I have often reflected on the conversation I had with this mentor and thought about other mentors from the past and the signals they have helped me to hear. Allow me to share another story from my past that illustrates this point. After graduating college, as a member of the yuppie generation, I believed happiness would be achieved by making a lot of money. So I took a job in sales and made more money than I ever dreamed of making at the ripe age of 24. I bought a house, I went on extravagant vacations, had a company car, I wined and dined clients in fancy restaurants, etc., etc. And I was miserable. I worked long hours at a job I hated, and I lacked any real sense of purpose and any degree of professional fulfillment. I was so miserable that I was getting physically ill. And one day I decided that I had had enough. And I walked into the boss's office and quit. Without a job, without an income, and with lots of bills to pay, and without anywhere to turn, I sought the advice of a former mentor, who was also a close friend of the family, my high school guidance counselor, Sister Mary Philomena, better known as Sister Phil. As I shared my tale of woe, Sister Phil listened intently, nodding at the right times, and expressing a high level of concern and compassion. After I finished, Sister Phil took a deep breath and asked, "Mark, have you ever thought of becoming a teacher?" I looked her right in her angelic, habit-framed face and said, "Teaching? What, are you kidding me? Teaching is for losers." That's a true story. Nonplussed by my rude and insensitive response, this woman, who had dedicated nearly 50 years of her life as an educator, said, "That's fine, but I expect you to show up tomorrow to substitute for a history teacher who will be out sick for a while." And like most of my generation, my response was, "Yes, sister." Well, I showed up the next day at my old high school, and the day after that, and the day after that. And what started as a substitute position turned into a full-time position, and the beginning of a career that has led me to be on this stage in front of you tonight. Not only did I find an incredibly rewarding career by listening to the signal that Sister Phil provided, but I also met my wife while teaching at that school, and together we have built a wonderful life with 3 amazing children, a life far beyond my wildest imagination. In many ways, I owe all of this to Sister Phil, who served as another mentor who helped me to hear the signal, the goal of wanting to work with kids and to do great things for them, and to ignore the noise created by the false idols of money, power, and prestige. Our collective culture has countless examples of people who relied on mentors to help them find their signals. During the Civil War, President Lincoln sought the counsel of many advisors before hearing the signal of emancipation. In the novel The Alchemist, Santiago sought guidance from the alchemists who led Santiago to the treasure he seeks. And Eleanor Roosevelt, who followed the advice of her mentor, Lewis Howe, and became a champion for civil rights. There are many other individuals who listened to their signal and managed to ignore the noise. Therefore, my challenge to each of you is to seek out mentors and positive role models, and to be mindful of the signals they will provide that will lead you toward a lifetime of happiness and fulfillment. So, members of the class of 2016, it is with a mixture of tremendous pride and deep sadness that we bid you farewell, confident that you are well prepared for whatever your futures hold. We wish you years of good health, happiness, and success. And wherever your roads lead you, our hope is that at some point they lead you back to Morristown High School. Thank you and good luck.